It's the Weekend Sports Buzz with your hosts, Kelly Patrick, Tyler Bloyd, and Danielle Chilton on 1450, The Sports Buzz.
Ball hit hard towards center field by Heisey. That ball hit well, near the wall. That ball disappears. Home run for Chris Heisey. And I mean to tell you, he hammered that ball between the 396 mark and to its left at 401 out into the Padre bullpen area.
Welcome to the Weekend Sports Buzz. I'm Kelly Patrick. We got Tyler Bloyd in studio with us for another Sunday of good sports talk here in the Kentuckiana area. We have some good guests that should be coming on. Jared Lorenzen, about 11:30, talk to us about what he's up to these days and maybe his opinion a little bit on the Kentucky football program. We may be joined by Les Carpenter of Yahoo Sports, talk a little bit of NBA late in the second hour also. And, of course, we'll talk about the Reds. Reds won last night. Talk about Team USA, the announced team which left off, you could say, a snub to Anthony Davis. Also, I know that we can get into Anderson Silva defeats Chael Sonnen. Tyler, you want to do some MMA talk this morning?
Sure.
And, of course, we'll talk about some Louisville and Kentucky stuff. We got, it is the offseason, not a bunch to talk about today as far as Louisville and Kentucky. But there's also, NBA. Ray Allen signs with the Heat. Jason Kidd looks like he's going to the Knicks. And, of course, Steve Nash is going to the Lakers. So a little bit of return to primetime for the flashy, offensive Steve Nash going to the Lakers. First thing that I want to get into today is, let's see here. What do you want to talk about, Tyler?
I'm about to pass out.
Tyler is not feeling too good this morning.
I'm struggling.
What I like is that the Reds are winning. I like that despite the fact that they are in, they're not in first place anymore. They're one game out of first behind the Pittsburgh Pirates. They did win last night. What I like is that Homer Bailey had a good outing. He threw 6 and 2/3 innings. Let's see here what he did. 6 and 2/3 innings, struck out, I believe, 8 with no walks, and he got the win. He's now 7-6 with a 4.14 ERA. The Reds are hanging in there. Their offense needs to come around, but it's very nice to see that a guy like Latos, a guy like Bailey, are providing those good starts, just a lot of quality starts. I forget the exact stat, but the Reds now have, here it is, 10 quality starts in a row, which is the longest stretch since 1994. The Reds are only 5-5 during this stretch. How does that happen? They don't score runs. What do you think about that, Tyler? What's the Reds' offensive woes? Where's that come from? What's the deal?
Lack of just I really don't know. They've had 17 one-run games this season already, and they're 0 for 17. Last year, they only had 21 of those, and they went 0 and 21. Kind of odd. Maybe it's the younger guys that, like Lance McAllister was saying. I actually heard Lance said that the team's really not that great of a team. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why. Well,
it's a good starting point.
It's a good starting point. Well, I think it's what he meant by that was, they're just not the big type of names that you go in. You can't name off this whole. The average fan probably can't name off the starting lineup for the Reds, which I don't know. Maybe it correlates to just the lack of the. I don't know, Kelly. I'm kind of out of it right now.
That's all right. I mean, they definitely lack some pop in their bats. They've got Votto. They've got Bruce. Definitely Brandon Phillips. But they don't seem to have much beyond that, especially offensively. Looks like we're being joined. We got Handsome Jimmy on the line with us. How you doing this morning, Handsome?
Well, how about you, buddy? Doing good, man. What about yourself?
I'm doing great. Tyler's not doing so good this morning, but he's hanging in there with us, fighting through it. He's got a little cold or something.
He's a gamer, old man. He's at work. You know what I mean? He's a gamer.
He doesn't miss them. He doesn't miss these shows.
but I got to tell you, I've been a Reds fan all my life, and I'm real upset. I'm like you. I'm upset with the offense because the pitching's been outstanding. The starting pitch is off the chart, and I got to tell you something. Homer, you heard so much, him coming through the minor league system. How he just dominate. He's just over par. You strike out. Everybody said, when's he going to get to the majors? And now he's come to a pitcher. He was just a Thor. He's coming to a pitcher. And I tell you right now, he is flat off the chart. And Brandon and Bruce and Bottle. What can you say about him? With Scott Rowland when he gets going. It's like this team's got some offensive, some good pop in there. I think it's going to start coming around, don't you?
Yeah, Handsome. I totally agree with you. Last two games they've had multiple, I think 10 hits each game or so. They put up 5-6 runs in victories. Roldis came out last night with a 102-mile-an-hour fastball to end the game. Well, let me ask you, Handsome, about this though. Brandon Phillips and Johnny Cueto getting snubbed, and now you got Bryce Harper going to the All-Star game. You got all these other randoms filling in. Why not these two? What do you think about this?
Well, I got to tell you, partner, it goes back to a couple of years ago when that fight broke out. I don't care what what La Russa says. I mean, Brandon Phillips ain't All-Star. I'm the Pope. Are you kidding me? Please. He's the best second baseman in the game. He's a highlight reel. He makes you. What's he going to do next? He goes behind the back, through the legs, to get the close off or to start the double play. It's unreal with this guy. And he said, but since he's got stuff, he sucked a little bit. I don't know if it's on his mind because he really commented about it. He knows he should have been there. And Johnny, are you kidding me? I don't know how many pitchers that keep 15 or 10, whatever it is. You gonna try to tell me he ain't one of the best 15 in the game?
Oh yeah,
are you kidding me?
He has a better ERA than 6 of the 7 pitchers that are in the All-Star game for the NL. So
and he's pitched more innings than all those guys.
Pitched more innings than all of them as well. I don't know how the hell he didn't make it. Same with Brandon Phillips. It's crazy to me. Tony, I'd been okay with it if Russo would have just came out and admitted it. But when he had that Dan Patrick interview the other day and this and that, he's all mad at Dusty Baker. No. I'm a big dislike of Tony Russo now.
I've never been a Tony guy anyway. Not really not. But you stub these two for no reasons. The Reds, there's no question. In our eyes, we got 5 All-Stars. Then the other two got that Chad, Johnny and Brandon. In our eyes, they are All-Stars. And they can play. And you're going to try to tell me the Cardinals or Veluso, Tony wouldn't want to coach, manage them if he was still managing plays on his team? He would take them in a minute. Don't you agree?
Oh, my goodness, yes. I got to agree completely. If Brandon Phillips isn't the best second baseman all around in all of baseball, then he's definitely the best second baseman all around in the National League. If he's not, as Handsome would say, are you kidding me? Is that?
I can't help it, but you got to say that. You kidding me?
That was pretty good, wasn't it?
I got to tell you something. I just turned 49, and growing up through the era, with the Reds, with the Big Red Machine. At one time the whole infield, Bench, Morgan, Perez, Concepcion, and Rose, they was all stars. Then you throw Ken Griffey Sr. in there, George Foster, Tom Seaver. There's sometimes they have almost 10 of the players on the All-Star team. I got spoiled, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want that back, And it's like everybody, all of a sudden, Hans Wade such a, you're an idiot. Well, yeah, but I was born in '63. I remember this Coach Crump's first team Final Four, 75 Final Four, 80 championship, 82, 83 Final Four, 86. You're damn right, I got spoiled, man. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
When you're passionate about your squad, and you just can't help it. When you really like your squad, you want the best. You want to see your players out there. You agree to that?
Oh my goodness, yes. You're behind them 100% in everything. And what you're saying is, no matter what anyone says, when your team wins, a lot of times, especially in those formative years, maybe when you're younger, as it sounds like it was for you, that's kind of when you're being a real passionate fan is born.
I got to tell you something, buddy. You get spoiled so easy. And I got to tell you, let's get to Louisville basketball real quick. I always got to have Louisville basketball.
Certainly.
I mean, we went through the drought, and I mean, in '86, and you take Coach Crum's first 15 years, you go 6 Final Fours and 2 national championships. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, and I mean, there's only been like 33 coaches that win 2 championships. I mean, and it's amazing. Then you got, I'm talking 13 coaches that win 2 championships. There's only been 34 or 33 to win 1. I mean, it's just off the chart. And then you get spoiled. And I really believe this. I mean, this team right here coming up, I mean, it's Final Four or bust. And, of course, I'm thinking of a bigger picture. It's time. It is our time. Because they don't give them away, but this squad we got, from 1 through 15, I really think it's off the chart.
I can't disagree with that. When you look at it, the more I look at this team and I hear about, and I believe that the development of guys like Kevin Ware and even Zach Price coming off the bench and, just the development and the depth that this team's got to have next year, I mean, there's no way around it. They've got to be a top team next year. I agree with you, Handsome. I mean, there's no way around it.
And I got to tell you, I mean, losing to that school up the road.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's getting old.
It eats me. It's getting old. I mean,
I don't think so.
I know you don't. And I will feel the same way that we did. We worked for the road, but I got to tell you, I mean, the rivalry is so big, and you get the fans, and of course, I wanted to end this year. I talked to Big Brother quite a bit. He calls in the show. I said that streak ends this year. I mean, it's over. I mean, but the rivalry's so big. I mean, anything can happen, but I really believe this. I mean, they just had that championship, and I just hope we get that feeling this year, and I really believe we will.
Certainly seems to be a year that's lining up to have definitely that type of potential. Thank you very much for calling in, Handsome. We love it every time.
Keep cool and have a good weekend, rest of the weekend, buddy.
You do the same. Thank you very much, Handsome. Handsome said some good things there, Tyler. I liked his references to, I remember, and I know you do, Tyler.
Pope reference.
What's that?
I like his Pope reference.
I like the Pope reference. You got to like a Pope reference on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. I like that he referenced when Homer Bailey was coming up through the minors. You would hear stuff like this. He's in Double-A. He's throwing 98 miles an hour in the 7th inning or in the 9th inning. I just always remember hearing stuff like that about Homer Bailey. This guy is a surefire, can't-miss type prospect, and it kind of looks like that's coming to fruition now. I mean, he's, like I said, let's see here, 7-6. What are you thinking of him? What I love, Tyler, is I like having guys like Latos and Bailey who they throw strikes. They don't walk people. They may get rocked a little bit here and there, but they throw strikes, and they got heat, and they got stuff. They do not walk people, though. I love that.
No, I mean, he third in NL and ERA, 10 quality starts in a row. That's not easy to do. I mean, look, 1994 was the last time I did it. He goes, yeah, the pitching's going well. There's been some sketchy bullpen moments throughout this road trip. That's why we are kind of 5-5. Maybe a Jay Bruce missed fly ball in right field that I could have basket caught. Any small things. But that's the dog days of summer. It's going to happen.
Stuff like that happens.
July, you got August, September still to go before the red October takes over. I know we're up against a break, Matt, even though I can't see you back there. So we'll go ahead and hop on to it. If anybody wants to bring me some Pepto-Bismol, we're here in Jeffersonville, Indiana. I would gladly appreciate it. Stick with us. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz on 1450 AM.
The Reds are now 5-5 in this West Coast trip after Saturday's 6-5 win against the Padres. After splitting a 4-game series with the Giants, the Reds lost 2 out of 3 against the LA Dodgers. The Reds' offense disappeared that series, and it looked like the West Coast was taking its toll on the Reds as per usual. But the Reds have bounced back in San Diego after losing the first game against the Padres by winning back-to-back games. On top of that, the Reds have put together 10 straight quality starts. That hasn't happened since 1994, and the last time they put together more than 10 quality starts in a row was 1990 when they won the World Series. ESPN's Buster Olney tweeted out Friday that the Reds have interest in Philadelphia Phillies outfielder Juan Pierre. Although Pierre is a little bit up in age, that would be a nice addition to the Reds outfield and a great bat off the bench. Today, the Reds will look to make it a winning West Coast trip. The odds are favorable as All-Star snub Johnny Cueto takes the mound for the Reds starting at 4:05. They will then be off for a few days as the All-Star Game festivities begin, and then begin a long homestand starting with the Cardinals on Friday night. That's all for me. I'm Brad Steen for 1450, the Sports Buzz.
We got winners, we got losers, chain smokers and boozers, and we got yuppies, we got backers, we've got thirsty hitchhikers, and the girls next door.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. We were brought in there by a nice little Reds update by our man Brad Steen, keeping us up to speed on the Reds and all their happenings. Mentioned that the Reds may be interested in outfielder Juan Pierre. Kind of interesting that that's who they're going for. I know that he's 34 years old. He actually has the most steals out of any active player in the major leagues. He's had quite a career, 34-year-old outfielder, kind of a base hit machine. Even though he's old, he can still produce. So I find it very interesting that that's what they're looking for. He doesn't strike out much. Good defensive outfielder. Just very interesting. So we definitely appreciate Brad keeping us up to date on the Reds. But for now, we actually have a caller on the line. We have Brian the Insider. How you doing this morning, Brian?
Oh, I'm doing great, guys. How's everyone this morning?
Doing great. Thanks for calling in and talking with us. I know that you actually just got back from a trip where you got to see some horse racing across the ocean. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, my wife and I went over to France and Portugal, and while we were in France, we went to the famed Longchamp, famous thoroughbred race course there in Paris, famous for they hold the Arc, the race first Saturday in October. It's a mile and a half on the grass, and it is the most famous, most popular race in Europe and maybe the whole world, second to the Kentucky Derby, obviously, in our opinion. But big race over there. They didn't have that race there, but that day, but they had a good day of racing, and it was great to see. They go the opposite way over there. So as an American, it's a little different getting used to it. But there's no dirt course. They run everything on grass. And typically you see bigger fields and much longer races than what we run here. And as I said, they go the opposite way. So kind of different, but it was great to see. It was a lot of fun. Interesting.
I did not know that they go the opposite way than we do over there. Not only do they drive on the other side of the car, but I guess their horses run the opposite way, huh?
Yeah, they'll tell you that we go the opposite way. I think since we're the newer country, we kind of wanted to do our own thing, so we purposely took a different path on the roads. And now in France, in England and Ireland, they're on the different side. But I did notice in France and Portugal, they did ride. The car was on the right side of the road, so that part was fine. I've been over to Ireland before, and you were on the opposite side of the road. But horse racing definitely goes a different direction.
Interesting. What about actually in the overall sports world of horse racing right now? I think that was there an Irish Derby? Is that right? What's going on right now?
Yeah, well, yesterday they had 3 big races across the country and here in the USA, what they call win-in, you're-in races. they become a little more popular. And what they're doing is it's for the Breeders' Cup. It's to keep the enthusiasm going for the Breeders' Cup. So they hold these races. They had 3 of them yesterday. And the winner automatically gets into whatever particular Breeders' Cup race that's their specialty. And the nice thing about it is they pay, if you win the winner you're in races, not only do you automatically qualify, but they pay your entry fee, and they pay like a $10,000 travel stipend for the owners. So it's a good way to promote the Breeders' Cup, and also a great incentive for the owners of these horses to win these races, because it pays their entry fee in and all their travel expenses. So they had 3 of them yesterday. The most I thought the real impressive performance yesterday was turned in by a horse we know here in Kentucky named Mucho Macho Man. Mucho Macho Man finished 3rd a couple years ago in the Derby and has come back, or might have just been last year in the Derby. Yeah, he's a 4-year-old, so he finished 3rd in last year's Derby. But he ran a blistering 146 and a mile and 1/8 at Belmont, and to win the Suburban Handicap at Grade 2 yesterday, and actually paid $13.80, which is a pretty good price. But he just completely romped and really looks like he might be one of the best older horses in America right now. But what an effort by Mucho Macho Man. Hey, before I talk any more horse racing, I want to give you guys a live update on the Wimbledon. Federer, in a very contentious first set, lost to Andy Murray.
Wow.
Hometown favorite. So Murray won the first set 6-4. It's tied 2-2 in the second set, but very, very competitive. And for the first time in a long, long time, they've got an Englishman, actually a Scotsman, but they'll claim him as an Englishman in the final. So it's a very partisan Andy Murray crowd at Wimbledon. I think Federer, is trying to win his 7th title, Wimbledon title. So pretty good match there. But, horse racing, Ellis Park just opened. Churchill closed its meet. Ellis Park is now opened over in Henderson, Kentucky, and everything will kind of move that direction.
Good deal. I know good stuff. We appreciate the Wimbledon update. I'm actually just turned the channel, and I'm now watching that. Back to horse racing. This is kind of a basic question, but what's the next big race on the horizon that us kind of novice horse racing fans would maybe look forward to or see on, ESPN or whatnot? I
would say probably, everyone gets caught up in the 3-year-olds and, the Derby and the Belmont, the run up to the Triple Crown. So the next big thing is going to probably be when Saratoga opens up later in the month, and then they'll run the Travers there, which we call the Midsummer Classic, Midsummer Derby. So I'd say some of the big 3-year-old races coming up, the Travers, the Haskell and Monmouth Park. Monmouth's running right now over in New Jersey. And then it's just a lot of these win-and-you're-in races that are going on where they're trying to build up the enthusiasm for the Breeders' Cup and keep that momentum going for the Breeders' Cup. But a lot of good summer racing going on. It's when one track closes, another one opens, and they move that way. But New York racing is doing very, very well right now. They've got the slots-enhanced purses, and Belmont's having a very successful meet. And when that closes, as I said, Saratoga will open, and it'll be a nice number there. Saratoga is very similar to Keeneland. It's a short meet, very prestigious, very good purses, very good crowds that flock to upstate New York to a little town called Saratoga Springs, and they run there. And it's a very nice meet, very similar, in my opinion, to the Keeneland meet.
Wow. Once again,
that's the next big thing going on there.
Once again, we have Brian the Insider on with us on the 1450, the Sports Buzz here in Louisville. Brian actually wears many hats. One of the things I'll ask you before we let you go is, do you have any feelings specifically maybe about Nash going to the Lakers or any NBA guys being signed or going to new teams that you think will have a really big impact on the season next year?
Well, I do follow the NBA. I'm a Pacers fan at heart, but boy, I can't. Nash going to the Lakers. That's certainly. I kind of think the Lakers are a little behind the 8 ball moving forward. But what about the Heat? Picking up
Ray Allen.
Ray Allen, and now I'm reading that they're in there for Marcus Camby. I mean, they are. You got to give it to Pat Riley, continuously tinkering with that roster, but. boy, they make a couple of those moves, and they're going to be tough to dethrone next year. But I like to read where Green signed back with the Celtics. He had that heart problem, which but boy, the Celtics traded all Kendrick Perkins and first round draft choices. They gave away the house to get the Green a few years ago, and then he had to sit that year out with a bad heart. Now it looks like he will re-sign, and he's back to playing, and he's a real good talent and could really help them. But right now, boy, I'm just very impressed with the front office work that the Heat are doing, and they're going to be very tough. I wanted to comment real quick on the Olympic basketball team. I'm sure everyone saw how that turned out, but boy, they look. Anthony Davis with his ankle injury didn't make it, but that looks like a very formidable team. I saw where the Spanish players are thinking they've got a real shot, but I don't see anybody touching the American team this summer.
Do you have, off the top of your head, I assume, am I wrong, maybe Ricky Rubio? Would he be on the Spanish team? Paul Gasol?
No, he's still hurt. He's still hurt. They got the Gasol brothers, and they got the guy from Oklahoma City on their team, but Rubio is still hurt and will not play in the Olympics. So that's a big blow to the Spanish team. But they've got quite a few talent, but they're not nearly as deep, and they certainly don't have LeBron or Kobe or Kevin Durant. So, I mean, that's going to be a tall task. When I read the Spaniard quote saying that we'll be very competitive and we can beat the Americans, I thought, what are they smoking over there in Spain?
Well, that is a good question. But, Brian, we certainly appreciate you coming on with us this morning. I don't know, Tyler, you got anything? Tyler's a little bit under the weather with us, no? But thank you very much for giving us some updates kind of across the board there, Brian, and we look forward to having you on again soon.
Good luck, guys. Good talking to you. Love listening to the program.
Thank you.
I wanted to get into the Wimbledon real quick.
Sure.
Since it's on, obviously, Brian brought it up. Andy Murray did take down Roger Federer in the first set there. It would be his eighth. This is his eighth appearance in the final, which is a modern record. He is 6-1 during Wimbledon finals. That'd be Roger Federer. He knocked out Novak Djokovic in the semifinal to advance here. And, of course, like Brian said, Englishman, Andy Murray from the Scottish Rite. They're going to have him there. 1936, Kelly, Fred Perry was the last Englishman to win Wimbledon. That's a long time. So if this guy wins this is like winning the Super Bowl, the pennant.
All in one.
All in one. Stanley Cup trophy, all in one for England. He will go down as, he'll be beside the king and queen as famous people in England. I'm dead serious. He won't be obviously not royalty type, but
not
to
far
win that,
from it.
Not far from it. He was going to be he'll go down in history as loved. And of course, Serena Williams, she beat. I'm going to try to say that name, Agnieszka Radwanska. I don't know, for her fifth Wimbledon title, second player 30 years old or above to win at Wimbledon.
Yeah,
her and her sister also won the doubles, which was kind of a given. But what are your thoughts? Where are we at here on time?
No, tennis, that's good stuff. I mean, I know Andy Murray's actually been on the scene for a while, kind of a big name. I remember seeing him, I think, playing the last Wimbledon, or maybe it was a couple years ago, a good matchup against Roddick.
Yes.
But, yeah, that would be big. And Federer, he's getting up there in age. Tennis is a young man's sport. And I don't know off the top of my head, how old is Federer?
I'm not for sure. 30, in his 30s, 35 maybe, 36, 34, I don't know. In his mid-30s, I would say. So, yeah, he's definitely getting up there. But he looked great. He's ripping serves. I know we're up against a break here. Quickly, though, we got a couple birthdays going on right now. Hakeem Warwick, Kevin Bacon, actor Kevin Bacon.
The air up there.
Uh-huh. And then Toby Keith. Obviously, we had a little Toby Keith song leading into this segment. That's good stuff. And, of course, locally, the All-Star Game's coming up. Ken Griffey Jr., a little history for you. Ken Griffey Jr. today was named the All-Star MVP as the Cincinnati Red back, I believe that was 2000. In year 2000, 2001.
Sounds about right, yeah. Must have been right
Well,
around there because he sure headed downhill fast.
He got hurt. He didn't cheat. He didn't do steroids. So he,
Wow, Tyler getting a little defensive on me, ripping on Ken Griffey Jr.
You
there.
don't rip the kid. He's my boy.
Well, he headed downhill when he became a Red.
We seem to have an O.J. Simpson update every weekend. Today in '94 was his preliminary trials. Finds enough evidence to try him And obviously he got off with red murderous gloves. I don't know. That's what the jury found. And what else is going on today, Kelly? Let's see. We have the Greenbrier, the final round of the Greenbrier out in West Virginia. Obviously, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods missed a cut. Webb Simpson, your U.S. Open champion, he is leading at -14, and you got a couple randoms in there, like a Troy Kelly, a Charlie Belgian, Ted Potter Jr. all up there. But the guy who you need to know is J.B. Holmes, sitting there tied for third at -11. JB's looking great. I actually played behind him a couple weeks ago at Hunting Creek in Prospect. He shot a course record 67 on a windy day. It was very hot as well. So he's coming around. It's great that he's doing that because obviously everybody knows he had brain surgery a year and a half ago. So him coming back, get that tournament JV, bring it back to Lexington. Let's go ahead and get to our break, Matt. Stick with us, the Weekend Sports Buzz. And just a reminder, second hour, we will be having the Pillsbury Throwboy, Jared Lorenzen, joining us. Stick with us.
I love this bar. We got cowboys, we got truckers, broken-hearted fools and suckers.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Got myself, Kelly Patrick, and Tyler Bloyd talking all different kinds of sports with you this weekend. I don't know what we're going to get into next
I
year.
wanted to just mention my boy Tony Stewart won the Coca-Cola 400 last night
That's
in
right.
a restrictor plate type of race. Friday night's race, Carolina actually called in and said he was caught cheating. Cheating in NASCAR is a little bit different. It's not HGH like Roger Clemens did or Barry Bonds did. It's a millimeter of fractions of measurements that are usually off. It just docks you some points. He came out passing that Gatorade, Matt. That was the most unathletic pass I've ever had to me. Anyways, where was that?
You're talking about Tony Stewart. You were defending him, saying, you're a big fan of his. He got caught cheating, but it's not that big of a deal because you're a fan of his. It's okay that he was cheating. That's what you're saying.
What I mean is the pit crews always, occasionally, every team it happens, will mismeasure by a millimeter, which that's cheating. They just have to replace it, dock him some points before the race and whatnot. They know the rules. He came out in a 6-caution race. He pulled out in the wire. There was actually 2 big ones in the final, 12 laps. I watched this race, Carolina. You should be very proud of me. This was the first time I watched a full NASCAR race from first of lap, whatever it was. I don't even remember because I was just zoning in
Daytona,
and out.
right?
It was at Daytona, not the 500.
No, it was the 4.
It's the Coca-Cola 4. But it was a great race. Tony Stewart pulled out. Carolina actually said he was going to choose Tony Stewart yesterday, Kelly, except that that issue came up, so he went elsewhere with Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon was in it at the end and got into a little damage, blah, blah, didn't win. My boy took it home, as always.
Where's he now in the standings,
I don't
Tony
know.
Stewart?
I don't know. Top 10. That's
Cool.
about all I know. I did want to bring this up to you.
Okay.
Adrian Peterson. He was arrested Friday night. Did you see that?
I heard about it. I think there's still limited real. I know that he was in Houston. He was at a bar about 2:30. Supposedly he asked for a glass of water. Was told the bar was closed. I think it closed at 2. And somehow...
Well, you come to Louisville, Peterson. We party till 4.
Yeah, sometimes we party till 5.
You just don't know.
Yeah,
if you're
come to
partying
Louisville.
with me and Kelly and Brian, you're definitely partying until 5.
Yeah, I mean, so he was supposedly asking for a glass of water, somehow got into a confrontation with the security guard. My favorite part of the story, I think, is I don't care that he was arrested. I don't care.
Because
my favorite part
in your day.
My favorite part is that a security guard actually tackled him. What kind of security guard tackles Adrian Peterson?
Sign him up, Browns. We need him.
Yeah, I mean,
seriously,
they do.
Who tackled Peterson?
Some security guard tackled him. They said he may have been getting, a little maybe carried away, kind of ego trip, power trip type deal. Who knows the specifics of it? Adrian Peterson does not have a history of being, a violent or a out-of-line troublemaker type guy. So I'm going to go ahead and give him this one, as long as it doesn't come out that he was, using, say Dimitri or Delman Young type
throwing bats at umpires,
umpires, or anti-Semitic comments, anything like that. As long as nothing comes out like that, I'm going to let Adrian Peterson slide.
I honestly
want
to see this bouncer line up in a Goldberg's 3-4 stance and take him AP down. That's a tough tackle.
I would have liked to have seen that. Do you think you could tackle Adrian Peterson?
No.
Okay.
He would have run me over.
He would.
In a heartbeat.
He's the fastest, biggest, strongest. I mean, that would be... Matt, do you think you could tackle Adrian Peterson?
Oh, without question.
Tony Stewart is ranked is number 5 in the standings, and Kenseth is number 1. Just so you know, I got just pulling stats up for you. Pulled them up thanks to my mom, real quick.
Good stuff there. That's very good cooperation there by your mom.
Very good cooperation. That's why I actually told her to listen to all of her shows because I need a stat woman, not a stat man. And my mom, she's a stat man.
That reminds me, I got to give Tyler some props here. Second week in a row. He's messaged me and said, we have this show document where we have all our topics and some interesting stats and different little bits of information that we're going to talk about. And Tyler's been saying to me, man, we're struggling. We don't have a show doc for this Sunday. I'm looking over this, and I'm pretty sure Tyler was just lying because this is the most thorough 3-page of what? How big is that? 10 size
That's
font.
8 font in some part.
8 font, just packed full of information. I love it. Good job, Tyler.
You're welcome. I do work until 4 in the morning and get sick and come in and still do work.
Like, for example, one of the neat things I see here, and not to completely switch topics on you, is according to one source, Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, new to Division I, ranked ahead of Kentucky football.
New to Division I like 4 or 5 years ago.
New to Division I compared to Kentucky's been Division I for.
It's fine. We beat them last year. We're going to beat them again this year. Rankings are preseason rankings.
They don't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything.
And if Western's good, that's good.
That's fine with me. I don't care.
Yeah. I don't know much about Western. I know they've got DeMarcus Smith as one of their quarterbacks.
The guy, the UFC Louisville character?
Yeah. Yep.
That's all I know about him. I know they had the
cannon
running
for
back.
an arm.
I know they had the running back last year. We went in the draft. Pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
He was an ex-Florida back. Rainey.
Yeah. Rainey. Real fast guy.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Only thing I really remember about Western game last year, other than it was in Tennessee at the Titan Stadium. It was awful. There was like 20 people there. All I remember is the dude on Western just looking at the camera. They're supposed to be the SEC.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be we are the SEC. We aren't supposed to be. We are. And we beat you. It was a tough game, but we won. It's okay. And September 2nd is not far, Kelly. September 2nd.
You're right. It's not far. You're kind of chuckling or smirking over there. What? I mean, you got some.
I just
got something that I don't know about. Are you joking around? I mean, what's going on?
I got a good feeling about it.
You have a good feeling about it.
I got a good feeling about it.
What do you mean by that? You guys may stay within 15.
Woke up this morning, sober-minded, and I had a good feeling about it. And I don't know. I mean, you're not going to sweep. I mean, I'm pretty sure we will beat you in basketball. But
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Football?
My bad. I didn't think we were talking about basketball.
My
bad.
I'm just
confused.
Just thinking football. I mean, what if 7-6? Yeah, I don't know. Well, I got to get into this some more. I mean, obviously,
you think Kentucky's going to win? Is what you're trying to say?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
That's good. Well,
it is good.
We'll see.
Just like
September 2nd, we'll see.
We'll be there.
I don't know how much of a win it'll be, but it'll be a win for Louisville. They may win by 2 points, and that would be disappointing for Louisville.
I
think it'd be disappointing. A win's a win. I agree. I'll be happy with a win, but it would be a little. I mean, I'll be happy, but I mean, I want a blowout. I want to blow Kentucky out by 24. I want to blow you
out too. I want to put your all's little Louisville sticker on my urinal and take leaks on it. That's what I want to do. But it's fine. We dominate you on everything. Teddy Bridgewater, while we're on your all's cards, he was named to Maxwell Award watch list, which is the nation's best player.
Yeah,
that's high standards. Sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
That's. I mean, got to be awesome for the kid. I mean, is he going to live up to those standards? Is my question. Is he going to?
Good question. I don't.
We all know he's Teddy Bridgewater. We know he's a talented kid. Occasionally he's a little errant on passing. That's time. Time can heal that easily. What if Teddy Bridgewater came out to be the best player in the nation as a sophomore?
It could happen.
I mean, playing in a big country, you got an easy conference, easy schedule, night in and night out.
It could happen.
Nothing coming at you.
He's going to have to put up some really good numbers to do that. I mean, as a true freshman starting and doing pretty good like he did, and just supposedly adding a bunch of muscle and having a great offseason, which is what I've heard he's been doing. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I predict him to be the best player in the country next year, but he could put up a huge season.
Joe Charnzo's excited about the season. We had him on yesterday, the new color analyst for Louisville. He's taking over T.C. Stallings' position. Mm-hmm. He's excited for the team. I mean, I think he's kind of been on your standpoint the whole year. You gotta. You don't want to say you don't want to say where it should be, but everybody knows. 9-10 wins is where it's at.
Yeah, you don't really want to talk about.
You don't want to talk about
when you have that much going for you. When you have that much expectations, you want to try to avoid talking about it. One thing I won't avoid talking about is the September 2nd game. I'll talk about that all day. Louisville's going to win that.
Okay, it's on ESPN. Nationally televised, first game of the season. I know Tronzo, I agreed with him what he said yesterday, that he believes every year, no matter what, this should be the first game of the season. Because
I like that.
What he said, I mean, if it's the third game every year, you're not going to talk about it till that week.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not.
Anticipation is a lot of it. I love it.
Anticipation for the off season helps out getting through the off season time, and knowing we start off against the most hated rival out there. I like it. I hope it is the first game from now on. I mean, I know it has been in the past. I mean, that's just scheduling issues and whatnot, and we'll find out. But September 2nd.
Yeah, we'll find out. It's always great, even if one program's down, both programs are down, both programs are up, which doesn't seem to happen much. It's always exciting. It's a rival, so I mean, not much better than college football, really.
No,
especially when your team is doing good.
Especially when NCAA football 2013 is coming out in like a week or so. I'm just going to be glued to the TV
Are you?
and the sticks. Oh yeah.
Will you always be Kentucky?
I'm always not Kentucky usually.
What?
I just run a franchise with Kentucky. Create the fake characters and win national championships with them. Yes. But during online play, Kelly, you got to get realistic. I'm trying to be the best in the world. Yeah. Got to go with some good teams, not a C- out there.
Who's your team?
It just depends. I don't know. I used to like Tennessee in their triple option type of deal.
Oh, my God.
It was dirty.
You choose Tennessee?
Hey,
Matt, what do you think of that? Tyler uses Tennessee.
That was back in the day.
I use Florida when I play, so I'm not much better.
Yeah. See?
Wow.
Matt's a Tebow fan. By Petrino, on the football standpoint, filing for bankruptcy.
What? Wasn't that John L. Smith?
I mean, John L. Smith. Sorry.
I was looking at this show, Doc.
Yeah, John L. Smith filing for bankruptcy after he just got a $700,000 contract.
More than that?
More than that, maybe.
Didn't he?
Whatever it was, it's a hefty
head coach
check.
of one of the best programs in the country
Is filing for bankruptcy.
That's wild.
How?
Just bad spending your money on bad stuff. I don't know the specifics.
Well, I asked the same question myself, and then I read an article about it. And apparently, a long time ago, when he was at Louisville, he had some real estate investments in Kentucky that are not doing so well right now. So it's more. It's not like him spending all his money. I guess it's more bad investments in the past that aren't quite doing well.
I like John L. Smith. I don't care that he kind of left Louisville. I mean, I care. But
you don't care that he got up in the middle of your all's bowl game and said later?
I like him.
I wouldn't care.
I like him. I'll go on record. I like John L. Smith. But if you're leveraging yourself and you're getting into real estate investments and stuff like that, and you're doing that based on taking out a bunch of loans, and then I mean, it's your fault. If you're doing it with no debt and then they don't do too well, you're not gonna have to file for bankruptcy and have to start over from scratch. I mean, I hate to rip into him. But that's no good.
It's starting to remind me of Dave Ramsey over here.
Kelly the banker.
But, I mean, speaking of which, Kurt Schilling, for example, he thought it would be a good idea. Probably had some buddies of his that said, Kurt, it's a good idea. Invest $50 million into a video game company.
He did that, didn't he?
$50 million into a video game company.
I don't think it's where he's coming from, Kurt.
If you had $50 million, is that what you would do?
I might create the Xbox 35. I don't know. With my $50 million, it's going somewhere.
Well, hopefully you wouldn't end up filing for bankruptcy like he did.
I've never
and
would.
Like John L. Smith did.
I'd at least put $1 million in a random overseas bank account.
We'll be right back with more from the Weekend Sports Buzz right after this.
I couldn't get away.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. That don't kill me, can only make me stronger. I need you to hurry up now, cause I can't wait much longer. I know I got to be right now, cause I can't get much stronger.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Kelly Patrick and Tyler Bloyd is under the weather. I'm sorry? Struggling, but he's here. He's Cal Ripken of radio.
I'm slowly getting over the hump.
The show's making you
It's
feel
that
better.
Gatorade I gave you.
That Gatorade tasted like goat pee.
Goat pee. Wow. I want to remind all our listeners to, if anything you want to chime in on, call us. 502-384-1450 on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line. Also, on that note, I want to remind you that July 9th through the 15th, did you know you can save gas just by making sure that your car is in optimal running condition?
Optimal.
Now you can save money and gas at Oxmoor Ford Quick Lane. Get the Fuel Saver Works package, oil change, brake check, tire rotation, and pressure check with a multi-point inspection for only $29.99. You can go shopping, drop your car off at the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Quick Lane, let them work on it, and get optimal running condition for your car at the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Quick Lane.
Tell them you heard it on 1450 to Sports Buzz.
Certainly.
For sure. I wonder if they consider my car in optimal running condition.
I would doubt it. I don't know, though. Maybe. It runs, right?
And let me give you a Wimbledon update. We're 1-1 in sets. Federer just took that one 7-5. So
wow.
We're all knotted up here. It's going to be a heated one in London. And speaking of the heat, it looks like our temperature may be slowly going down, Kelly. In like the mid-80s.
Yeah.
That's going to feel like 70s around here with these 110s we've been having. Thank goodness, right?
Yeah. You want to hear how hot it was yesterday?
Yeah.
We just bought a new house. I'm painting, doing everything for it. We bought a really nice patio furniture set with a nice table and a 7-piece, 6 chairs.
Good little day at the Home Depot.
Good little day at the Home Depot. We had glass in the middle of it. It looks so nice. People come up and see it. They're like, is that really outside type furniture? I mean, it looks like a real nice kitchen table. So hot yesterday. We're eating inside because it's too hot to eat outside.
Well,
and I just happened to look out my window. Nothing happened. All the glass just shattered.
Yes. So
we have a shop vac, and I mean, it turned into a...
Did you get one for free?
I got all my money back from the friendly people at Meijer.
Oh,
every penny back.
Meijer.
Yeah.
The Major.
Yeah, every penny. I'm very impressed. I did have to load it up into the pickup truck and drive up there. And
tough day.
I had to. I mean, it actually was really hot and kind of a pain in the neck. I was planning on painting all day yesterday. So turns out I had to be loading stuff in, doing all this. I mean, got every penny back though. Picking up glass. We still have to shop back more of it up later today. But that's how hot it was. Literally shattering real nice glass tables.
Now, Kelly's address
in my backyard
is for all you people listening. He's a nice little place, a nice little extra bedroom. You might be able to shack it up with him. No, it's gonna be a good second hour. I'm alive and well, I think.
Dude, Tyler's doing better. You can tell.
I'm alive
He's
and
getting
well.
a little enthusiastic and offering people to stay at my place. I mean,
1125, the biggest quarterback in NCAA history.
Probably the most impressive, from my honest analysis, the most impressive physical feats I've seen when you take into consideration someone's whole body and I mean, he was a NFL caliber, cannon for an arm, really quick.
Dude.
I mean, he's a fast guy and he was huge. He's an amazing athlete.
Do either of you, Matt or Kelly, remember his freshman year poster that they sent out for the team? It was "Name Your Future Quarterback." And we're speaking of Jared Lorenzen, and he's going to join us at 11:30. It's going to be an awesome little segment, so don't miss that. But do either of you remember that poster they sent out? Matt, you were in Lexington at that time, I think.
What did it say again?
Do you remember the poster when Jared was on campus? He came in as a freshman. They had a picture of all the linemen, and Jared in the mix. It said, name your future quarterback. Do you remember that poster?
I do not, but that sounds awesome.
It was awesome. You look at it, Jared's legitimately bigger than these linemen. See, it was like, I don't know, and there's Jared sitting there with his mean mug on. Kelly, you look at this document, all the records Jared has, NCAA records, total offensive yardage as a freshman, almost 4,000. Passing yardage by freshman, that the same thing. Past tense, total offensive plays. It's the SEC records. He's got total offensive plays in the season under the air raid, 635. Pass attempts, that's almost 600 pass attempts in 2000. He's got like 15 records here. Looks up and down NCAA, SEC, and school records. It's going to be fun.
Oh, going to be a great guest. No one with better insight into the Kentucky. I mean, he's a Kentucky guy from Northern Kentucky. No one with better insight into the Kentucky football program.
The ultimate indoor football league commissioner.
Yeah,
Call him commish.
That is amazing. What I think's very impressive, and this may sound a little dorky or whatnot, is I've always played a lot of Madden. Not so much these last couple or few years, but guys like, Carson Palmer, one of my favorite guys on the game for years, their speed ratings a lot of times and their agility is like 52, 56, okay? Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, very low speed and agility ratings. 40.
Peyton Manning.
Yep, very slow. When you look at the backup for the Giants for a couple years, you'd see, that's Jared Lorenzen, awesome. Even if they're Kentucky guys, I'm a Louisville guy. Even if they're Kentucky guys, if it's basketball or football, I take special interest in even the Kentucky guys in those games.
You love the NBA then. You just love the NBA.
But when I look at Jared Lorenzen's, he's like 68 in speed, 70 in agility. They acknowledge that he's huge and that he's way faster than any other quarterback, way quicker. He's just an amazing athlete. I mean, and there's no way around it. He's got a cannon for an arm. We'll get to talk to him a little bit. See, I'm interested to hear how fun it is to play in those Arena League games. Don't those look fun?
It is. Next week, we're actually going to bring on his wide receiver of Jared's in his time, Chris Bernard. We had him on, in our KentuckySports Bluegrass breakdown days.
Chris Bernard, who I believe played for the Colts in the NFL after playing for the Kentucky Wildcats. But we will be back with Jared Lorenzen after these messages being brought to you from 1450 The Sports Buzz.
Yeah, he's not on yet.
Yeah, we're not going to break yet.
Yeah, we are. We have to because otherwise we're going to have to go take a quick break.
Okay, let's go to a quick break. Then stick with us. This is the Weekend Sports Buzz.
From the Christian and Christian Dior. Damn, they don't make them like this anymore. I ask, cause I'm not sure. Do anybody make real anymore? Bow in the presence of greatness. Cause right now that has forsaken us. You should be honored by my lateness. That I would even show up to this place. So go ahead, go nuts, go.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
We're back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Myself, Tyler Bloyd, feeling much better here in the second hour. And, of course, Kelly Patrick. We are our other intern host, Danielle Chilton, is out of the building this morning. She decided to move to Cincinnati. She's going to be occasionally here and there showing up. So we'll miss you, Danielle. XOXO. But moving on, that's all I got to say about that. I wanted to bring up, obviously, we got Wimbledon going on still. It's looks like Federer's taking the third set lead. It's a little commercial break. I can't tell you the score off the top of my head. But check that out. It's on, Kelly, is that ESPN?
It's on ESPN.
ESPN. Yep. Of course, again, we got the Greenbrier finishing up today, West Virginia. What else do we have? We had the MMA last night.
We did have MMA last night.
We have a lot of stuff going on. The Dominican Republic as their opportunity to make the Olympics today. Obviously, why do you care? Because John Calipari coaches it. That's why you care.
Francisco Garcia is the leading scorer.
Francisco Garcia. Edgar Sosa broke his shin in worst break ever, and he's playing already. They got Al Horford. They got a good little team. If they beat Nigeria today, they are officially in the Olympics. Cal needs a little experience now for in 4 years when he takes over the American team and takes them to the title with about 5 or 6 Kentucky players. It's going to be great. Obviously Anthony Davis, he won't be there this year. It's fine. You've never played a minute in the NBA. Any Kentucky fan, if you're mad, don't be mad. It's not Coach K did not pick him because he went to UK. He picked him because he was rolled his ankle. He's never played a minute in the NBA. They really don't need him. They're going to win regardless. Okay. It's fine.
Can I chime in on that?
You're in.
Anthony Davis may end up being that great of a player.
Yeah.
It looks like he will. My argument, though, is, and I established in the last segment that even though I'm a Louisville fan, if I sit down and play NBA Live or Madden, I kind of like following even Kentucky players' careers.
If you're doing a fantasy draft.
I love doing fantasy drafts.
Anthony Davis is going to be on your list, probably.
Okay, but what I'm saying is this. You just said that they're going to have maybe 5 guys in the next Olympics. I know you were joking, right?
Yeah, I'm just throwing out big numbers.
Who is that good in the NBA from Kentucky?
I mean, depending on in 4 more years.
Okay, no. Who is that good, though?
In 4 more years, well, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist could easily be one of those guys.
He could be, yeah. Okay. Harrison twins could be in 3 years.
I'm not talking about guys that haven't even put the Kentucky jersey on yet. Jeez. Nerlens, if you want to talk about guys who hasn't set a game in college, Nerlens might be able to. No, I doubt it because Davis, yes. I do believe Gilchrist, he'll be there one day.
But you have to admit that John Wall's not that caliber of a guy.
Why not? Because he's been in the league for 3 years? He's not that caliber guy?
He's not that caliber right now.
4 more years?
He could be.
That's what I'm saying.
He certainly could be. And he would. John Wall, that's an interesting point, would actually play well into the style that they're trying to do right now with sprinting up and down the court.
Kelly, what I'm getting to is if John Calipari is coaching, he's going to have one of his point guards on that team. Yes, it'll probably be Derrick Rose. For sure, Derrick Rose will be there. John Wall might be there as well. You're going to have a Gilchrist there eventually. Maybe not 4 years, might be 8 years. Davis will be there in 4 years. You got to think the guys that are in. Maybe a Brandon Knight in 8 years.
Maybe.
There's a lot of people, Kelly. DeMarcus Cousins. He will be there in 4 years.
We will see.
And if he's not,
as of right now, there's nobody that's that caliber. I hate to cut this conversation off. I know it's so much fun. We have a caller. We have Carolina Steve is on the line with us. How you doing this morning, Carolina?
Just fine, Tyler. Your man came through last night.
Oh, yes, sir, he did. Tony Stewart from from last to first, should I say.
Yeah, that was a great run, and he took some chances. Of course, he had a little bit of help from Casey Kane, and also at the end, he got that other Chevrolet behind him. The key was getting Biffle and Kenson apart from one another.
Key to me was avoiding those 2 last wrecks in the final 12, 13 laps or so. That allowed him, obviously, a couple guys got involved in it. That last lap fiasco allowed some other guys to squeeze into the top 3 or 4. But Tony Stewart, he raced well for most of the race. Obviously, he had that issue on Friday evening. It's just a few point documents. Now we're moving on to next week.
Yeah, it's going to be good, and I'm going to tell you what. I look next week for a 1-2 sweep for Stuart Haas because of last year. It's either going to be Tony or Ryan Newman's going to win at Loudon, New Hampshire.
Okay, I was going to ask you that next. Where is it next? Obviously, just New Hampshire. This race last night, I actually watched this race, Caroline. I watched it from start to finish, and I was intrigued with it. I've never actually watched a full NASCAR race. I don't know why. Maybe it's the radio position I'm doing now, but I actually am starting to enjoy NASCAR.
Well, I tell you what, you would even like it more, Tyler, if you were there in person.
I believe it.
It's an event where you're there in person and you can see everything going on. Television doesn't show everything. But I got a driver I want to see, but they might not show him on television, but I can follow him when I'm at the stands. And that is the only sport, too, where you can actually listen to the conversation between the driver and his spotter or his crew chief during the race. And that's one of the greatest things that I ever bought myself was a scanner where I could listen to these goings-on during the race.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people been getting those things. It seems like a good little gig for the everyday NASCAR fan, especially in the stands. It's obviously loud and everything. That's a good little idea. Caroline, I want to ask you, the All-Star Game, you're a big baseball guy, I know, is this Tuesday. Any guys from you're looking at from North Carolina in the mix there that I don't know about?
I know my man's in there, and he had me scared. I thought he'd hurt his back again, but he come back last night and put one out, and that's Josh Hamilton from Raleigh, North Carolina.
That's right.
Yep. Very right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, can't forget about him. Doesn't he lead baseball in home runs, maybe
RBIs?
RBIs?
I know he's got, is it 27 he's got now after last night?
Yeah, it's 27, and he has 78 RBIs, I think.
He is just a phenomenal athlete as far as that goes, and his story is so good. And I do want to thank the Cincinnati Reds for giving him the chance to get up there, but I do not like the fact that they traded him, even though didn't they get Cueto after for him?
Yes, they did.
I don't think they did.
They didn't?
I don't think they did. Nope.
Really?
Yep. I know that they got Daniel Ray Herrera.
No, it was
they got Edinson Volquez.
Yes,
it's kind of a little misconception that they got Cueto.
Yes.
They actually got Volquez and Herrera, maybe another guy. But no, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's got to look like one of the biggest blunders, definitely in the Reds' history. I mean, how can you trade away arguably the best player of a generation now? I mean, that looks bad.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. I don't agree with the fact that it decides the home field advantage. I think that should go with the team that had the most victories going into there, but that's the way they got it. Well, why should it be like that when you got a guy managing the National League who's not even in the game anymore?
Yeah, it's exactly. Tony La Russa is obviously the manager picking the team, not in the MLB anymore. I actually was talking about that the other day. I don't like it. I wish it would go back to just the home field advantage as the winner.
I don't like, and sorry to interrupt here, is that Tony La Russa is his title right now is he's a special assistant to Bud Selig. If he's serving in that capacity, he shouldn't. I don't think he should double over as a manager of the All-Star Game, who can then pick guys that he likes and guys that maybe he used to not like, or personal vendettas against guys like the Reds. I mean, it just seems like a kind of a. It could be worse, and for the sake of radio, maybe we like to sensationalize it and make it into a bigger deal than maybe it is. But it doesn't make sense that determines who has home field advantage in the All-Star Game. That's just screwy.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think the basketball, even though it's the next to football, it's the dullest All-Star Game because no defense is played in it. Is they should take the coach. They call them managers in baseball. They should take the manager of the two teams in the one the American, one the National, that has the best record going up to a certain point, and let them, because they've seen the players this year and they know who's doing what. Just like I'm not a big Reds fan, as I say, but I think that Brandon Phillips got job this year. He should have been on the All-Star team.
Oh, yeah, I think you, me, and every other Reds fan, and most baseball fans would totally agree with you. Carolina, appreciate the call as always. Stick with us because Jared Lorenzen is going to be calling us here in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And with what you were talking about,
Uh-huh.
how you know it's going to be Cal? I'd say they just go 7 miles up the road and get Roy Williams to coach the U.S. Olympic team.
Could
Y'all
happen.
have a good day.
Yeah, appreciate
You too.
it, Carolina.
Thank you very
much. I mean, it could happen. They could go and get old Roy, Daggum Roy, but I don't think so because Cal Perry would have international experience now. He was there, 4 years ago. Now he is, or not 4 years ago. Last year he was doing international. Now he's here for the Olympics.
That's valuable.
That is very valuable. That's the reason I say he would be next in line. I might be totally wrong, and if I am, no sweat off my back.
No, certainly not.
It's just what my input was to that. And on the Olympics, are you excited for the Olympics?
I'm very excited for the Olympics. We will get into that a little bit more in
the
last part of the second hour. We do have to go to break, so we'll be right back with Jared Lorenzen from the Weekend Sports Buzz. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, 100% reason to remember the name. Mike, he doesn't need his name up in lights, he just wants to be heard, whether it's the beat of the mic. He feels so unlike everybody else, alone, in spite of the fact that some people still think that they know him, but he knows the road.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Myself, Tyler Boyd, with Kelly Patrick. We were both kind of dazed out there. Thanks, Matt, for letting us know. Matt, you could have brought us into that break.
I was kind of zoned out too. That's a great song. I prepared that for Jared Lorenzen.
Who is that?
Song. Who is that? Who is it? Fort Minor. Remember the name?
Kelly has no idea. He was Fort Minor. Yeah. Yeah. Duh, I know them. I got them CD in my car. We got Wimbledon going on still. Oh. Talk.
Okay. We got. We will have Jared Lorenzen on, whether it's today or it's next week. We'll have him on soon. We're not sure that we'll be able to get him on today, but that's all right. We get
He's
to
supposed to call us. So
Yeah.
if he calls us in the next 15, 20 minutes, we will definitely get him in here. If he doesn't call us, well, we don't have his number, so we can't blow his phone up. Wimbledon's going on. Turn on ESPN. I'm sure it's getting down to the final few sets, and we got a great battle between Andy Murray and Roger Federer. Kelly, I wanted to get back into the Reds talk a little bit.
Me too. That's where I was headed.
Good, because that's where I'm going. I wanted to ask you, because we got some heated conversations over the last week.
We have.
Some, like, if people could read our conversations, they would, whoa. But we got the Latos-Volquez trade issue we've been talking about. We got do you want a left field or center field issue? Maybe some Dusty Baker talk. First, obviously, the Reds are playing the Padres. We just had Matt Latos, who came from the Padres, pitch against Edinson Volquez, who went from the Reds to the Padres for the trade. And we gave up Yasmani Grandal and
Yonder Alonso.
To me, this is a BS trade on the Reds' half. It's a pitcher-for-pitcher deal. Yeah, Edinson hasn't had the best pitching year as in strikes this year, but he's still pitching well. He had a great game against us, showed that Edinson Volquez that he can be. In a year or two, Kelly, and maybe after this season, if Edison's back to where he was, this is a BS trade. We just gave up two top MLB studs here in the next couple of years in Yasmani Grandal and Yonder Alonso. What do you think about that? I think you're on the other side of the fence.
My response to that would be, in sports, you need, especially in baseball, you need a stud pitcher. You need multiple stud pitchers, but you need one ace.
Johnny Cueto.
Mm-hmm. You need at least one ace. If you can have two top-level aces, look at the Arizona Diamondbacks when they had Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling.
We don't have that.
No, we don't. But if you can get somebody who is a top-notch ace.
Volquez. He could easily be.
He
could be 1A.
He's not.
He could be.
He's not.
He had 17 wins the year before injury. He's been coming off Tommy John surgery. He hasn't been back. He's just a slow. Maybe he's one of the guys that's just healing slower than normal, getting back a little bit longer.
You think he's better than Latos?
Today, this year, no. But let me ask you, a year from today, we get into next season, or almost all-star break next season, when we get to it. And we have Edinson Volquez and Matt Latos identical numbers for the next 3-4 years. They're just pitching great. They're both identical numbers, wherever they are. We got robbed, right?
If they're identical numbers?
I'm not saying pitch for pitch, ball for ball, strike for strike, but pretty damn close. Yes.
I think
wins on wins, walks.
If Yasmani Grandal turns into a top-level catcher, which you're confident he will.
He is.
What I'm saying is this. Then in that example, and those guys, Yonder Alonso and Yasmani Grandal, have turned into really good major league players, then yes, we got the bad end of the deal. My problem is this. And as a Reds fan, you should be able to relate to this, I would think. Over the years, we get a lot of guys who have a lot of potential and guys who were like, they're going to be good over the next couple years. Those guys are kind of a dime a dozen. Pittsburgh Pirates have had a lot of those guys over the years. Finally, they're coming to fruition, it looks like. But you can't have a team that wants to win now that is built on guys who have potential and aren't top-level players right now. That's what Yasmani Grandal and Yonder Alonso are. Two Cuban prospects who are great. They both went to Miami, who are great prospects. I won't deny that. They are. But if you can get someone who's a top-level pitcher right now,
for a
you got to
top-level
do
pitcher.
that. I would trade away five top-level prospects for one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Matt Latos is not one of the best pitchers in baseball. I don't understand. Yes, he's he's good. I'm fine with Latos on the Reds. I'm not fine, though, that we honestly, in my opinion, when it all plays out, we traded a pitcher for pitcher, top-level pitcher for pitcher, basically even trade, and gave up 2 studs. That's the way I see it.
I think you got to trade away. You got to trade away prospects for the potential to have an ace. You got to make a run. What's the GM's name?
Walt Jocketty.
Walt Jocketty. He knows how to put together a World Series team. Will you deny that?
Yeah, he won it with the Cardinals.
A couple times, right?
I believe. I don't know if at least one.
He at least had a hand in last season too. I mean,
I'm sure. Yes.
Yeah. So he knows how to do it. He's loading up on pitching. He's loading up on experienced pitchers, top-level pitchers. He's not emphasizing specifically, inexperienced prospects. He's getting guys who know how to come in and pitch at a very high level. That's what you need to do to win the World Series and to make a run at the World Series. You can't jack around with prospects. This guy should develop over the next few years, and we don't want to trade away our farm system. We want the Louisville Bats to be good. Where would Yonder Alonso play this year?
Yonder Alonso?
Left field?
Maybe. I doubt it because he's not the best left fielder from what we saw.
So he would be playing in Louisville.
He may be. It's fine. Maybe give away one in some kind of trade. I understand that. It's baseball. But both of them and another minor leaguer that I don't know who it was at all, and I don't know if he was good or not.
Brad Boxenberger, a good pitching prospect.
We gave away 4 guys for Matt Latos, and we gave away Edinson Volquez, who, I'm sorry, it'll prove over time it's a bad trade. Just like Josh Hamilton's a bad trade over time.
We don't know that yet.
Because the first year on trade, Josh Hamilton trade looked good for us because we had Edinson Volquez throwing 18 wins.
Mm-hmm. It did.
Now it looks terrible.
It does look terrible.
That's why
I'll give you that one.
That's what I'm getting at.
That was a bad one. I don't think that trading for a top-level talent like what Matt Latos is a bad deal ever, regardless of what you give up. Unfortunately, we are right against a break. We will be back with more from the Weekend Sports Buzz in just a few minutes.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. Let us know what you think. Give us a call on the Oxmoor Ford Lincoln Buzz Line at 384-1450.
Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Buzz. I'm Kelly Patrick, and we are joined by Farrell Elliott from KFFSC, which is Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship. That's KFFSC.com. How are you doing today, Farrell?
Hey, Kelly Patrick. How are you guys? I'm doing great, and I guess I'm taking you home, huh? We're approaching the last segment of your show.
Yeah, you've got it's 11:46. We've got you for the next, I believe, Matt, we've got the next 14 minutes to talk, kind of get into the zone for some fantasy football talk.
Yeah, we can squeeze lots of fantasy football wisdom into 14 minutes. Where do you guys want to start, and how avid of fantasy football players are each of you?
Well, Tyler is actually not sitting here with us right now, so it's just me. I'm a very tenured fantasy football guy. Actually did not play any fantasy football this last season, but I love it. Over the past probably 8 years, I've spent, ask my wife, I've spent a lot of hours doing fantasy football drafts and leagues and stuff like that. We can go in any direction you'd like, really.
Our league kicks off our 10th annual year, our 10th anniversary at the Horseshoe Casino this year, August 24th through 26th. We will have, hopefully, 228 teams drafting. Last year, we had over 160 teams, so we're pushing out to 228 this year. If we hit that 228 number, we'll have a grand prize of $10,000 for the 2012 winner of the league.
Wow.
You know, we right now have registrations from 14 different states. Many of the players come in and they play more than one team. We have drafts on our biggest event will be Sunday, the 26th at 1 p.m. But we have two main event drafts on Saturday, and if the listeners would like to take a closer look at the league, they can go to KFFSC.com. And they can look at what some of our players have done in the past, the awards that we have, the way it's broken down into 12-team divisions, how you get into the playoffs. Lots of information on there. There's a Twitter feed that shows players joining the league from all over the country, and including the best players here in this area. You know, it's like, are you a poker player, a card player?
I actually am not. Tyler here is.
I'm a poker player.
You know, when you're playing cards, you want to sit down, you think about that chance to come and sit down and play against the best poker players, the guys you see on television, the guys with the reputations, and you say, well, you know, I'd like to take my shot at them and see if I could beat them. That's what you'll have in the KFFSC. Last year, our top 5 finishers, who are all awarded a bid for the following year to go to Las Vegas and compete for $250,000, much like a World Series of Poker concept. Our top 5 finishers last year were made up of Justin McCord, who's a local guy from Louisville, who's been playing fantasy football for 8 years. Jason Kahn, who's a former world champion out of Cleveland, Ohio. He finished second in our league. Mike Trent and Rachel Heverin. We had a young lady that got in there and finished third. A rookie player named Roy Anselmo from New Orleans finished fourth. And 2 guys that have been playing with us for 5 years, Ben Thrasher and Rick Lieber, finished fifth. And so there's a whole, you know, that example shows the different backgrounds of the players we have. So if you're a rookie player, have no fears. Come and compete. If you're well prepared, you could do well in our league.
Well, Farrell, I know. I assume you're kind of a fantasy football guru. Would that be accurate?
We'll let you get away with that, but that's a hard ladder to climb. I've had my lumps in fantasy football, but you know what? I'll take that because in the 20th round a couple of years ago, I got Austin Collie, and I followed that up with UK's Stevie Johnson the next year. So, 20th round Magic guys that perform like that. I was a guru in those drafts, so I'll stick with that. So
regardless, you follow it. You know the guys who are. You have a feel, kind of you got your finger on the pulse of fantasy football.
Yeah.
That kind of leads into one of my questions. Maybe a generic question, if you will, but who do you think going into this season is someone who maybe is very undervalued?
Well, there's great value throughout the entire draft. It's like an undervalued early pick would probably be at the quarterback position this year, Cam Newton. As much as you get for that player, he still won't go as high as he possibly should. An undervalued player that you can get in the middle of the draft, 10th, 11th round, is a player that we're all familiar with here in Louisville, Reggie Wayne. Reggie Wayne, he's essentially the forgotten man in fantasy football. And with a rookie quarterback coming into that team, you're going to look at a situation where a valued receiver like Reggie Wayne can pay dividends. So he's not going to be the number 1 or 2 fantasy receiver on your team, but he's going to play more like a 3 or 2. But right now you can get him as your 4th fantasy receiver. And that's where you get value, and value is how you win.
Mm-hmm. How about overall? Who do you think is maybe some quarterbacks that you want to target on draft day, and maybe a couple that you think are maybe overvalued and you should avoid?
Well, you guys know there's a big separation in that top 5. We already mentioned Newton, so let's follow up with Breeze and Rodgers. Let's go to Brady. Probably Eli Manning is going to he stood out and said that he was an elite quarterback last time, so he's probably going to work his way up into some higher than he's gone in past years in fantasy football. Peyton Manning will probably go 5th, 6th, 7th round, and if healthy, that is a wonderful value. Ben Roethlisberger, new offensive coordinator, an uncertain rushing attack, and a retirement of Hines Ward. Ben Roethlisberger is going to throw the ball more than he ever has, and a beneficiary of that, skipping out of the quarterback position and looking to wide receiver, a beneficiary of that's Antonio Brown.
Definitely. I'm actually a big Cincinnati Bengals fan. Do you think, what kind of fantasy value do you see from the Bengals? Obviously, you got Andy Dalton, who's got to have some value. A.J. Green should take a step up, hopefully, in his sophomore campaign. Maybe Jermaine Gresham. Do you know of anyone else on the Bengals who may have some fantasy value?
You broke it down right there, and Green has more than some. He's a number 1 fantasy receiver that you can get after a lot of other number 1 receivers have gone by the board. So if you want to go running back in the first round, and you're towards early first round, then coming back through the Serpentine draft into the second round, Green looks like a great player. You might even gamble on him, get him early 3rd. I think Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis at the running back positions is a potential train wreck. I would stay away from that. The camp is, the fact that they train right down the road here from us gives us a good chance to keep up with that team, put our eye on them. I'm going to have more information as we get later on in the year about those guys because I'm not really sure what I feel about Gresham yet. So I'm going to form my opinion, and I'd like to answer that question later. But right now, very, very high on Green. Very, very leery of Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis.
Yeah, anybody who is or was a running back in that Patriots system just makes me nervous from a fantasy perspective. I mean, I don't know. That's just years of not knowing who's going to get the ball, and certain guys having big games, and they're on your bench. And I mean, that's just I agree, probably a train wreck. If you're going to draft Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis early, I'd be very leery of that also. What do you think about the Bengals defense? Sorry that all these questions are focused around my favorite team, the Bengals, but
well, that's okay. I like them, but they've got some tough matchups. They in their divisional situation, they've got some tough matchups, and I'm glad you asked about a defense because in a lot of drafts, they're generally an afterthought. The way we play our rules in the KFFSC, we're going to reward you highly if your defense shuts down an opponent. On the other side, if you give up a lot of points, we're going to start taking points away. So the defense becomes more valued as a position player, and in our leagues, they start going around anywhere from the 10th to the 12th round. So the defensive question is very appropriate, and Cincinnati is in the upper third of defenses fantasy players this year.
Who's your favorite, or do you have a favorite defense headed into the season?
It's you automatically think Baltimore Ravens, San Francisco 49ers. You also want to link a defense with a good return game, and that's why Arizona Cardinals keep showing up. Defense is something we can learn and get a feel of and look at the schedule. It's really a last decision for most fantasy owners because as they begin to their preparation for drafts, they'll get a feel for the schedule on week-to-week basis, where the bye weeks are, and the defense will kind of slide into place as we get closer to August, September drafts.
Certainly. I know that I try to avoid picking up a defense very early, and then I kind of have had luck grabbing one on the waiver wire, and I'm kind of hitting all bases from a fantasy perspective. As far as kickers go, everybody's favorite topic is kickers, right? Right, Tyler?
Kicker actually won me about 3 games in my league. I'm league champion, by the way, right here with Tom Brady. The Heinz your kids, Heinz your wives. I'm sad that Heinz Ward retired. My team name is gone.
I was on a show once that if a guy called in and asked about a kicker, they would hang up on him. And I think that's a big mistake because kickers can really make a difference for you, especially in this. I immediately go to Oakland, and Janikowski is such a thrill to have as a player on your team. You've got to overspend for him. But here's the deal. If you're in a draft and everything's going right, and you've got the players that you targeted, and you're beginning to put together depth at a position, and you're very, very happy with where you are in the 12th and 13th round, go ahead and grab you that kicker because he's going to make more points. He's going to score more fantasy points than the majority of the kickers in the league. If you feel like you're chasing players and your draft's a little bit in trouble, you're going to have to wait on kicker and wait later. But if everything's going right, get that kicker you want. No problem.
I'm in the same boat with you. I've always I like that Janikowski, has the strongest leg. He's not going to lose his job. They've thrown so much money at him. And he can hit he'll hit many 40 and 50 yarders, and every once in a while hit some 60 yarders. So I always try to target, after someone else has taken the flavor of the month kicker, I try to target Sebastian Janikowski just because he won't lose his job and he's got the strongest leg.
In high-stakes fantasy football, he's going to be the first kicker off the board, so you've got to jump and get him. And the coach has, whoever it is, throughout all his coaching changes in the Raiders, they all have had trust in him.
Certainly. Well, Farrell, we look forward to having you on again to talk about fantasy football as the season goes on, and kind of a little plug for your show. Every Wednesday from 2 to 3 on 1450 AM, you'll be on to talk fantasy football. So thank you very much for coming on.
If the listeners miss it, they can go to KFFSC where it'll be embedded, and they can listen again on the website because we've got a lot of great guests giving great fantasy football information.
Thank you very much, Farrell. You have a great rest of your weekend.
See you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
It's going to be a fun guest we bring on with Farrell when he's on.
Yeah.
I like talking fantasy football.
Who doesn't?
I know.
If you're a sports fan, not every sports fan likes fantasy football, but it's fun to talk about. I like seeing how the Bengals are doing, even if I'm not playing in a league. So thank you very much. It's been a great show.
Hey, quickly,
Tyler stuck it
while
out.
We're on the gambling. Former Kentucky Secretary of State Jonathan Miller is at the final table of the World Series of Poker in Vegas. He made it. He brought up poker. He brought up gambling. I had to get it. Go ahead, Kelly. Get us out of here.
Great show. Tyler stuck it out. We will see you next week for more from the Weekend Sports Buzz. Thank you.